Hey yo, it's Dave from Flash and Dance DJ Service. So, here it is on a Sunday, and we're gonna catch up on gig logs. Not like literal, but so we're gonna catch up. So, hope everybody's doing well out there. I'm a little pooped, a little exhausted, a little emotional. And there's nothing wrong with that, and you'll find out why in next week's gig log. So, last week, let's talk about the different layers to it. So, last week I had 3 events. I had, I had in the morning, I had CAC, Child's Advocacy Center, I think it was. They did a fundraiser at Buzzards Bay Brewing. I did that on behalf of my buddy, Pete, through my friend George. So I took care of that while Pete went off to do a wedding. And that's how, the industry works. So basically, it was mostly them using a wireless mic to be able to make announcements of cornhole teams. Went smooth, went easy. Went from being weather how it is right now to downpouring. Oh, it was horrible. I was so glad that they moved this event inside. As much as we wanted it outside, they moved it inside. Now, that night I had karaoke at the Lakeville Country Club. All went smooth, no issues, everything was great. So then, go home, got to be up early, got to be in Marshfield near the jetty for 9 a.m. load-in. I bring everything in inside a steel wagon, I believe it is, or Stellwagen brewery. We had made a plan, me, the bar manager, Pete, and somebody from the organization that was running it. We were going to do everything inside. Excuse me. However, the person who came in like a tornado, one of the musicians, she really wanted it outside, was adamant about having it outside. I said, well, let's plan for the headliner to be inside. And I said, the only reason why I'm saying this is, are you feeling okay to be responsible for $10,000, $20,000 worth of equipment? And when you hit somebody with something like that, they don't always have the right answers. Because the thing is, I'm not going to be held liable if we're outside. And they were like, oh, we'll just bring the stuff in. I'm like, this isn't a 15-minute move. This is, all the cables will be laid out. Everything will be, front of house will be built. All that stuff. It's going to take 45 minutes to an hour to get everything inside. You're better off letting me handle just the headliner. Let's get them inside when they arrive, sound checked, monitor, in-ear is good, all that, and we'll do the rest of it piecemealed outside. She was in agreement with that. As we're getting things ready to start doing the first one up on the stage, on the siren stage, which is the main stage, guess what happens? We have some drops of rain. Me and the drummer who's outside, their kit was backlighting for the day, turned around and I let him make that call. And so we moved everything inside. And good thing we did, because throughout the day, we had on and off rain showers throughout. Now, I ended up getting a lot of compliments once I got some things fixed and things like that. One person did complain a little bit, and that was just because it was so loud, because it was all hard surfaces. As we know, breweries have concrete floors, they've got vaulted ceilings, iron everywhere, bricks, stone walls, wood shelves, steel canisters to make the beer in, and all that kind of stuff. So it's horrible, horrible, horrible. I got a lot of compliments. And with some of these venues lately, they're wiring them immaculately now, meaning the power that's in the wall. I have not, in the last 3 weeks, been able to run my subwoofers when I've used them, my 181s, properly. And what I mean by that is I've had to tone them down. I've had so much real juice running to those subs that I can almost imagine what it's going to be like when I get the JBL SRX 800 series to match my 815s. I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I am tired. So I ended up doing that. That was a long day. That was a 16, 17 hour day. Full production, sound and lights, wedges, the whole 9 yards. Pack that up, come back, drop the trailer, go home, work through the week, do some prep work for yesterday's. So that'll be next week's gig log. But I ended up talking to Pete at the end of the night, and I did some networking with him as well. He's the taproom manager there, and I can't tell you how blessed I am with all these different events. And right here is my pass, which is kind of cool. So any real good festival that you do, you'll end up with a laminate. And here's my laminate from the South Shore FemFest. The thing I liked about this, and I gave them a giant compliment about this, is they did that. Okay, I'll make sure I insert a picture of this. What they did was they printed these, they basically ordered the lanyard, which is cool. But then what they did on pretty nice paper, they printed out on one side what the event was, which was the South Shore FemFest 2026. They had a blank spot to put the name on it. And then what they did on the back was they put the time, the running order. So when this was hanging on my hip, anytime I needed to do a time reference, I was able to just pull it and do it. So the only band out of everything that was here that never played was the Finn McCool's duo. Why? Nobody knew, nobody said anything, but on my stage was supposed to be Wayside Sound, Thirsty Boots, Natalia Buffini Band, Gracie Grace, and the ATGB Band, Julia Rhodes and TEC, and then the Femmes headlined it. Awesome party band, by the way. If they're ever near you or doing an event, I definitely recommend checking them out. And then we had on the songwriter stage Rebecca Carter Burke and Heather Jones, Maya Walsmith, Patty Hayes, Amelia Lane, and Julia Babb and Megan Diafrano. I believe it's her, she is how she pronounces it. So, and this was May 31st, which was last Sunday. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the content. I set up my camera and I moved it a couple times just so you have a heads up, so you could actually see what an entire event was. So I am going to watch the footage and I will insert it, and you might see just the tech side of it, or you might even see the whole thing. It all depends. You know, it is a time lapse. It probably could turn into, I know the time lapse from the event was a 13-minute and a 9-minute, so I may not necessarily put that in this video, make it its own video, and just attach a link so people can jump over to see it, because I told the Stellwagen that I would send him a link when I put it up. So I will probably link it down below. Okay, so don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. And anything you see and would like me to talk about, like, for example, I talked about in the next upcoming gig log about a JBL Eon 612, that I want to get a new woofer, I want to get a plate amplifier for it, and I talked about who I go through. So, with that being said, I am going to say I hope everybody's been enjoying this stuff. Weather is getting nicer and nicer and nicer. Get out there, enjoy things. Hopefully a lot of you are having events roll in, whether they be production, DJ, towns, whatever it is. I have a lot coming up. Next weekend I'm at the Charlestown Rathskeller. The next weekend I have karaoke celebrating my wife's birthday. And then the following weekend, one of them I also have the jetty, and then I have something else going on, and then kicks off the 4th of July week. So that, when I say kicks off the week, the 28th is the Berkeley one, which there's not much going on during the day. However, I will try and shoot a time lapse so you guys get to see that. And then, because that's a big outdoor event, trying to meet up with the drummer for what is it, the Freeze Bops. He's doing a double gig that day. He's playing till 5 in Fall River, and then he's coming to Berkeley to play 7 and 9. So they're gonna be exhausted at the end of that day. But anyway, so with that being said, you know, make sure you treat people how you want to be treated, and learn one thing every day. And I will see you on Wednesday for Tech Tip, and that I am thinking about talking about repairs and business stuff. So we will go from there, and I will see you all then.